Foundations of Canadian Law is considered the hardest NCA exam because a lot of people don't realize these three important things that you need to know in order to pass the Foundations exam. The first one is the type of questions that you're going to be tested on. It sounds simple, but trust me, it's not. There are different types of questions, like problem questions, essay questions, and these different types of questions require different types of answers. So I'm going to be discussing that in this video. The second is how to use the articles on the exam. Unlike other NCA courses, Foundations of Canadian Law requires you to read a whole bunch of different articles, and just reading them is not enough. So I will show you how to read these articles and how to use them on the exam. The last one is having answer keys. And when I'm talking about answer keys, I'll show you how to make answer keys in a way that you know which articles to use when. Before I go on into the 3 points that I had mentioned, I want you to keep this at the back of your mind that Foundations of Canadian Law does not test you on your knowledge about this subject. It tests you on your ability to critically analyze the knowledge that you've gained studying foundations, and which includes admin constitution. So you're not reading the material just to understand the knowledge. You're reading it to be able to critically analyze. And I'll explain what critical analysis means just now. The first thing that you need to know is what type of questions are you going to get on the exam. Now, the NCA syllabus tells us that you can expect short answer questions, essay questions, and problem questions. Problem questions are the questions that you get on all of the other exams where you get a fact pattern and you have to identify issues and then you have to apply law to the facts. I don't remember getting a lot of fact pattern questions on my exam. It could be different for you. So I'm not going to discuss those in this video. I'm going to discuss it when I'm talking about other courses. I remember getting a lot of essay questions, so I am going to be focusing on that and telling you what is it exactly that you're tested on when you get an essay question. On the exam, you're not going to get a question saying write an essay on XYZ. That's not going to happen. You're most likely going to get a question with a few sentences, 5 to 6 sentences, and they're going to ask you if you agree with this, do you disagree with it, or you can also be asked to write a memo or just your opinion on something. So it's pretty much testing your ability to write an essay. Now, when you get an essay question, you're tested on 2 things. The first is how familiar you are with the material. When I say familiar, it's not, again, the amount of knowledge that you have. Familiarity is do you understand the material? The second thing is your ability to critically analyze legal theories and issues. Critical analysis is gold. This is what you're going to be tested on, and you should put all your effort into developing this skill. Critical analysis means that are you able to form your own opinion based on the strengths and weaknesses of that argument. When I say strengths and weaknesses, it's a fancy word of saying that, what do you like about this argument and what do you not like about this argument, and then in the end, what is your opinion? So I'm going to give you an example. And that's not from your course. It's just a very general example that will help you understand how to critically analyze anything that's given to you. So let's say on the exam you get a question saying, Toronto is the best city to live in. Critically analyze. Now you get a statement. What do you do? The first thing that you do is you're going to find, what are the strengths of this argument? Strengths, I would think this to mean that, what is it that you like about this argument? And then what is it that you don't like about this argument? So when I'm critically analyzing, I can say that, this is a valid argument because, Toronto, it's great living in Toronto because there's fresh air, there's good coffee, and the city is diverse. You could say anything you want. So I'm saying that, and now I need to prove it with some evidence. Now, this is where the articles come in. All the articles that you've been reading, you're going to use them to support what you think. So, for instance, over here, I can pull up some articles from the internet and say, this person said that Toronto's community is diverse. And then once you're done explaining why you think this is a good argument, you're going to go then into explaining why do you think it's not a great argument. And, I would say that this argument can be considered unreasonable because Toronto's housing prices are too high, renting is so expensive, and it's very hard to, buy a house here. And then, okay, if once I've said that, I need to prove it. So, this article that I read on Google or wherever I read it says that, the average housing prices in Toronto is $1 million. And so I'm actually proving it by stating an article. And then once I've done that, in the end, I'm just going to give my conclusion. And your conclusion could be anything. It's your opinion. Now, because I have said XYZ that I've already mentioned, I can say that, you know what, Toronto can be considered the best city to live in because of its diversity. However, it is important that, housing prices go down for it to be, more comfortable. I could say whatever I like as long as I have reasoning. So, so can you see what I did there? It's you get an argument, you tell the examiner, okay, well, this argument seems reasonable because of XYZ, and I have proof because, I read the articles. And then this argument can be considered unreasonable because of XYZ. Again, you prove it, and then I read the articles. And then in the end, you could say whatever you like. Like, you could also make up a nice conclusion saying, I partially agree and I partially disagree with the statement because of XYZ. And then you could also be like, I strongly disagree with this statement because, I have lived in let's just say I've lived in Europe and I find, I don't know, the streets to be more beautiful. I don't know. You can say whatever you like. So this is the fun part about critical analysis. So now that you know where the articles fit in, next I'm going to move into how to read the article. Whenever you're reading an article, now that you know that where to use them, whenever you read an article, you're not just supposed to read it like a story. You're supposed to highlight these important points because these are the points that you're going to be using in your answers. First and foremost, you need to know which topic does this article come under. So is it related to admin actions? Is it related to Indigenous community? Or is it related to any other topic? You need to know which topic this article comes under. Now, when you're reading the article, the author of the article is going to have an opinion. What is that opinion? What is the author trying to say? Now, once you know what his opinion is, you need to know why is he saying that? What evidence does he have to prove it? So you're going to highlight the reasoning behind author's opinions. And then once you do that, then you're going to also look at what the conclusion is. What is it that the author has concluded, which is probably going to be the same as what the author is saying. But again, if there's something in the conclusion, you want to know what it is. And then once you've read all of these things and you've highlighted them, you should also form an opinion in your head about what do you think about it? Do you agree with what the author is saying? If yes, why? And if not, why not? This is how you're critically analyzing a statement. And that's the practice. That's exactly what you're going to be doing on the exam. So I'm going to share my screen now, and I'm going to just pull up an article from the syllabus, and then I'm going to tell you how I am highlighting these different questions that I had already mentioned. For instance, what's the topic, what's the argument, what's the reasoning. So I'm just going to share my screen. I have opened the foundation syllabus, and on the right side I have a Word document with all the questions that I already mentioned. So I've picked up this article over here by Naomi Metallic, and I've opened it
over here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go through this article and answer these questions. What topic does it come under? Now, when we go to the syllabus, we know that this comes under this topic. The reason it's important to add what topic does it come under is because sometimes on the exam, it's very hard to just, know which article to use. Next, what is the author's opinion? Now, you can mostly find the author's opinion in the first or the second paragraph. Here, I know that she's arguing that admin law rules that have developed around deference tend to place Indigenous peoples at a disadvantage in judicial review proceedings. Great. So we just put it down here. Now, why is the author saying that? What is the reasoning behind author's opinion? Now, this is pretty much the bulk of the article. If you read it, you can see there are a whole bunch of reasons that she's mentioned. I'm going to just summarize one because, it'll be faster. So this is the first one. Over here, she talks about how, first of all, there's a long history of conflict, and then government actors are neglecting their obligations under treaties. So this is one of the reasons that she said what she said. So I've just copy pasted it, and then obviously, like, you could make it more concise. So there's the history of conflict, and you could just be like, yeah. So you could say that there's a history of there is a long history of conflict that we know, and then the government actors have neglected their obligations under treaties and all of these things. So this is just one way of doing it. You can add some cases, and you could just summarize it. Now, I know that you can find some notes that already have summaries, which is great if you want to buy them, which is completely fine. If you think that they don't have all of these questions, you can definitely add it to them. But yeah, you can purchase notes as well, or if you want to make your own, it's completely up to you. Now, what is the conclusion? So conclusion, I know that you could also find in the first paragraph. Now we know that, this is what the author is saying, but let's see if there's anything else that she wants to say. Yep, so in the end, she's talking about some solution that she recommends, which is a good conclusion, I must say. So we just put it on here. And so now we have an outline, a short outline. Now, when we take a look at this article, we at least know something about it rather than just, going and flipping pages, right? So in the end, I would always like you to just jot down some points. What is your opinion? Again, what do you like? Do you have any evidence to prove that? When I say evidence, did you read it somewhere? Do you have other articles on the syllabus? And then what don't you like? So that would be the weakness. Okay, again, any evidence? And then what is your opinion? So it doesn't have to be long or anything. You could just jot down points. Like, for instance, you could just be like, oh, I like that she said, that government actors are neglecting their obligation. Okay, you put it down there. And then do you have any evidence? And you could be like, you could just be like, oh, yeah, I read the same thing, in another article. Just name it. So this is how you're actually preparing, because on the exam, this is going to be really important.
The third thing that you need to know and you need to prepare are answer keys. When I talk about answer keys, what I'm really trying to get to is that once you get a question on an exam, you're likely going to figure out which part of the course this question is from. So, which topic does this question fall under? So, once you know that, then you should have an answer key telling you which articles fall under that topic. And then so that you're not looking at like 50 other articles and you're like, oh my God, which one was it? So you know which articles are part of this topic. And then once you have the summary that we just talked about earlier, you can see which one actually fits into your answer. And the articles are not going to fit into your answers like a puzzle. It's not it's not 1 + 1 = 2. No, it's not going to be like that. Whatever you think is important in that moment, whatever makes sense to you, you use that article, you critically analyze it, you show the examiner that you've read it, you've thought about it, you have an opinion. So again, I can't stress this enough. What do you like about this argument? What do you don't like about this argument? That's strengths and weakness. And then what is your own opinion? And that's it. It's not hard, but it's just that you need to critically analyze. You need to know this skill. So I'm going to share my screen now and give you just an example of how you can make this answer key.
What I'm really trying to get to is that because you have a lot of articles to read for this exam, you want to know which article fits under which topic. Because it is likely on the exam when you get a question, you'll be able to figure out which topic this question is from. So, once you know which topic this question is from, you can go back to the syllabus or the answer key, whatever you've made. You can see that these are the 3 articles that the examiner told you to read. Now, which one can you use in your answer? It is likely that you can use one or maybe all 3. I don't know. You don't have to use all of the articles, but just saying. So, if you have the answer key, you will know exactly what to do. So, what I did is that I used the syllabus and I used a pencil to write down some points over here. So for instance, this is the article. And then I would just write some points over here, right here. So that when I know which topic the question is from, I come back to the syllabus and I see the short points that I've mentioned here. And I know, okay, so maybe I could use this article and then I could go to the summary that we already prepared and then use the arguments. So it's pretty simple. If you have another way of doing it, please let other people know as well. But this is something that certainly worked for me.
Now, if you'd like me to help you answer an exam questions particularly for this course, I'm happy to do it. Let me know in the comment section below if this video was helpful, and if you would like me to tell you, just read a question and how to answer it step by step. I don't mind helping you out. And yeah, I'm going to be doing the same thing for other NCA courses. So that would be admin, constitution, professional responsibility, criminal law, and foundations, which I've already done. And after that, I might also get into the other subjects that I wrote, which was torts, contracts, business organizations. Yeah, I think that's about it. So yeah, if you like it, please subscribe to my channel, and so that you don't miss out important videos that I'm going to be posting.